What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cafecito and Kane show. And yes, Cafecito is right here. Got it with my little mug from right there from España. Cheers, everybody. Please, as I take my little drink from my shot, please hit that like button. Delicious. All right. Lots to talk about. Of course, we got breaking news as we expected this week. Every day this week is probably going to be busy with some kind of recruiting update, maybe a new commit, maybe a new announcement date. There's going to be something to cover pretty much every day. So I kind of anticipated that. So, kind of left the show agenda kind of open. You probably saw in the description, we will, as promised, be going over the matchup between Miami and Florida for week 4 as teased previously. We all know that Flo pissed off some Gator fans, and we've been wanting to kind of address that, dive deeper, so we will get into that. But before that, we got to cover the commitment of 4-star tight end Israel Briggs to the U just about 1 hour ago. And then actually we've had 3 commitments to be exact in the last 48 hours. So we're going to go over all that. Do not worry. I see Flo backstage. He looks ready. So let's bring him on. My friend.
I made it. Bro, 95 ain't playing right now. Gosh, I need a plane or something. Like, everybody who's listening want to hook it up with a chopper or a plane. Like, this traffic is for the birds.
And it's 8 p.m. It shouldn't be that bad still.
Brother. I was riding dirty. But I made it. I'm happy to be here. Happy that you have me on. Let's talk.
Let's talk. Yeah, let's chop it up, man. So first off, some recruiting updates. This is going to be a big week for the Canes, and they are nowhere near done. But today was a big day for them. We'll start with the most recent commit, which happened just about an hour and a half ago. Israel Briggs, 4-star tight end, highly sought after by multiple schools, especially Miami. Miami was able to land him, so big W for Coach Woodall. Coach Woodiel. I don't know how to pronounce his name exactly. Is it Woodiel? What, like, everybody pronounces Woody. Coach Woody. Let's stick with Coach Woody. The guy, and I got to give you some credit. You've been saying for the last couple of years, this guy's an assassin before anybody really knew who he was. And I'm talking about Coach Woody. He's starting to prove that, So I'll give you the floor for the next few minutes if you want to talk about Izzy Briggs and the type of player that we got.
Well, I mean, first of all, shout out to Coach Woody. I mean, he's a killer. He's proven it. I mean, look what he's done to the tight end room since he's gotten here. And it's just going to keep going. As far as Briggs go, really cool prospect, because you're talking about like a big wide receiver kind of guy, right? A super athletic, strong, good size, maybe not great size for a tight end, but good size as a offensive weapon. What I see that's starting to happen at that position is they are definitely getting their Luka Gilberts for sure, and their Brock Shots for sure, but they are also getting guys that kind of can play a couple spots, not just as a passing tight end, but maybe also as a wide receiver in certain formations, right? And I think there's more coming that fit that same bill. But as far as Briggs go, there's not much to like. I mean, he tests out the water. Super athletic, smart player, understands coverage, strong hands, and he's fast, dude. And he's fast for that size already. Good frame, a frame that you can put on some weight. I'm very excited for this pick, and it's starting to become a trend with Miami beating out major programs. So it's kind of cool. Like, we used to just be happy we had a hat on the table. That we were conditioned to that for like the last 20 years, and now all of a sudden we don't just have the hat on the table or in the edit anymore, I should say. Yeah. We're winning some of these,
Yeah, and winning against big time programs, which is even more important.
Facts.
But and you mentioned that Israel Briggs, like a few other prospects that we're going after, he's listed as a tight end, but almost like a big wide receiver as well. Is that kind of like by design, you think? Like, because we are going after some big fish at wide receiver, some bigger body dudes like Russell, like Keys. And, if in case, we don't land them, then maybe this is like a plan B to land like, I don't know, like a Zach Turner, for example, who's like 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is, 200 plus pounds, but runs like a receiver. Is like, hey, I mean, was that kind of a happy accident, or do you think it's by design that we're going after these more like wide receiver type of tight ends kind of as a contingency plan?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a contingency plan because, Coach Woody's been on these guys for a minute, so I can't say it is or it's not. I just know that it seems like they're going after a lot of these guys that are just, I guess the title or the category we should give them is just weapon. I don't think it's a tight end. I don't think it's a wide receiver. They're just weapons. I mean, these are guys that are mismatches because you can't go out there with a linebacker, right? And if you come out there with a safety, it better be a safety that can run because these guys run like wide receivers. And you're right. Zachariah Turner's another one that Miami's hot on. Hopefully they can close that. I mean, and that's another dude. Same idea.
Yeah, man. Norman, thank you as always for the donation. Guys, it's going to be a blockbuster recruiting class.
Yes, sir.
It's certainly on track to. I mean, depending on which fan you ask. I mean, some are kind of focused on the wrong things. And, like, for example, we'll talk about Spafford next. We recruit Vance Spafford, who brings 4.3 speed from out of state. Just a blur, just an absolute playmaker. And I know you'd like to call him Mr. Pretty because he's, polished, very, very polished.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree. He runs very pretty routes, does everything pretty. But you go deep into his highlight reel, you go like when they show like the grittier plays towards the end, because at the beginning they loaded up with the flashy plays. You got to watch the whole thing to see like the blocking and stuff. Dude, he can get nasty too. He's got a little bit of that in him too. He's got a little bit of dog in him. So love that pickup. But that's, an out-of-state guy. I'll talk about we'll touch on the whole state of Florida versus other states in a second. But like, just as a player, what was your reaction when we were able to close on Vance Spafford? You think Miami will use him primarily as a slot? You think they'll just move him around because he's such a playmaker? What do you think?
See, that's a really good question. And I'll tell you, I just don't care who they get. No one's going to take Malachi Tony's spot. So I think that this is a guy that you can play in different formations. But the neat thing about Spafford, and you're the history guy, so you're going to love this. Who's been faster that we've picked up since Philip Dorsett? This guy is like, he has that kind of speed, dude. Like, when is the last time that we said we have a guy that, oh crap, they better put a safety over the top on that guy because he's gone. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. Like I got to tell you, it's kind of cool. And again, here's the common trend you're going to start seeing. Look who we're beating out for these guys, right? And an interesting fact, and I'm sure everybody that's watching knows this, and I know you know this, but I think it's super interesting, and I don't think enough people are talking about this. He didn't even take an official. He committed to Miami without taking an official visit. Like that is, when do you see that happen nowadays on a major blue chip recruit? You don't see that.
No. Like that is, especially today, like that is odd, but in a good way. It worked out for us.
Hell yeah.
So, we were able to land and that's what the receiving room, in my opinion, has been missing. Some people say it's size. To me, it's that 4.3, 4.2 speed.
Yeah.
It's been missing that. So we got one in him, still going after Jason Lopez hard, who's another slot. To me, he's more of a prototypical slot, whereas Vance Spafford, you can pretty much put him anywhere, and he's a mismatch nightmare.
Yep.
And then real quick, the third guy that we picked up, Jalen Jones. That's his name, right? Yep. Jalen Jones.
About the 27 guy?
2027 kid. If you have anything you'd like to share on him. I did see something earlier that like, oh, wow, we're actually like, obviously whatever the rankings are and the star ratings are for 2027, that's not finalized. Like they haven't given the 5 stars their 5th star yet for the most part. So Miami may possibly already have 2 5 stars from South Florida, like in their class. Like that's what we've been missing. Like, so Please, what would you like
So
to share about this kid?
shout out to South Florida because people were sleeping for a little bit. And I've been saying this a lot on my channel and then other places. If you know, you know. We knew about this dude. We just didn't know if we were going to get him. This guy's ridiculous. I mean, there's nothing not to like. This is just a playmaker, ball hawk, kind of just heat-seeking missile. Really, really high IQ player. Really happy. I know a lot of people don't get excited for the 27. I usually don't flip into the 27 until the transfer portal closes. Is when I go into it. But being from down here, I know who this guy is. Trust me, I know who this guy is. Big pickup, big pickup. This is a dude's dude right here. And he plays the best competition in the country. I mean, you gotta love that.
Yeah, for sure. So already locking down big time targets. They're not just, filler pickups. You're already locking down big time, high level blue chip recruits, local for the next class. So that's massive. But speaking of local, looking at our Discord chat and just hearing fans talk about specifically wide receivers and, just South Florida skill position guys that for whatever reason we can't keep them at home. Now, my theory on this is, well, we sucked for 20 years, and that's literally that kid that you're going after, that's 16, 17, that's literally his entire life. He doesn't know anything different. All he knows is Bama, Ohio State, Georgia. Those are the three programs winning all the national championships. They come in here, pluck you out of South Florida. Yeah, you're going to go live in Tuscaloosa or wherever for a few years, but then you're going to go to the league and you're going to go to the first round and you're going to get paid. That's the culture that's been created. So 110-win season is not going to undo all of that. That's what I kind of try to tell people. Now, you are starting to get the Mark Fletchers and the Jordan Lyles and guys like that. You're starting to turn it around, but like a guy like Calvin Russell, like a program changing potentially recruit like that, it's still going to be an uphill battle. We still got to keep winning, I think, for a couple more years before we really start landing those guys. But in your opinion, do you think for Miami to really be back and really start turning things around, do we have to start landing those guys first? Can you go out of state and win with those guys? Because there's talent everywhere.
Yep.
You tell me, if we don't get let's say, God forbid, we don't get a Derek Cooper, but we get a Jay Lamar, can you win like that?
Right. Yeah. First, you said something that was interesting that I'd like to add to. And this is something else. This is a little nugget that I don't think people think about. So not only were we not good for those 15, 20 years, but those schools that were good had time to get their claws into here and assistant coaches of high schools into head coaches of high schools, the bagman, all that has been the blueprint for all those schools that come down here. They've infiltrated down here while we sucked, right? So Mario can't just come in here in a year or two. It took him a year or two just to get back in it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's in there, it's going to take a few years to kind of flip that around, because it's not just that Miami's starting to get good again, but it's also all those assistant and head coaches that are down here that already have kind of relationships with Georgia, with Ohio State, with LSU, with, all those schools. You gotta not just come and have a couple conversations. You got to build those relationships out. You got to take one of their kids, do right by one of their kids, put their kid into the NFL, blah, blah, blah. So that takes a minute. It's not just that Miami was bad, but because Miami was bad, it allowed other schools to come in here and infiltrate. Now, as far as that, can you win with outside talent? I mean, it's crazy because when you look, there is a lot of really, really good talent all over the country, but it seems like there's always, example, who's the best player on the national team? The team that won the national championship? South Florida guy.
Sure, mm-hmm.
Those Bama teams, right? Amari Cooper, right? Jerry Jeudy. I mean, it's just, it's funny when you start looking at who are the premier players. A lot of them are still from South Florida or Florida, at the end of the day. I think there is a big mentality difference between the Pee Wee and the high school kids in Florida than most of the country. Not all the country, but most of the country. It's a mentality out here. They've made documentaries on it. They've made other stuff on it. You don't have to take my word for it, but it's not that the players down here are better. I wouldn't say that. I don't think they're better. I think they're just different. It's an ingredient that you need, in my opinion, on championship teams. It's been said not by me, but by a lot of recruiters. I'll take a 3-star from South Florida other than a 4-star from, North Carolina all day long. I don't say that. Now, it's situational too. There's dogs everywhere, man. Like Louisiana, Texas, Cal, Georgia's got a bunch right now. I'm sure I'm missing a couple states. There's little pockets. The DMV's got a couple pockets that if you know where to go, there's some players, dude. There's some real good players. But down here, you can go to like a 7-7 high school and pick up a safety in a corner, no problem. Like you literally could. Like you don't have to go to the juggernaut, right? I can go watch. I don't know. Like for example, we can go watch West Boca won the state or got the states last year. What you heard me correct? West Boca. But where are most of their players from, right? Like it's interesting because I do think the rest of the country's got amazing talent. Georgia, for me, has really taken a big step in the last couple of years. But there's a reason why all those teams come here, bro. There's a reason why the Ohio State's got a flag planted here. Georgia's got a flag planted here. Texas got a flag planted here. LSU. There's a reason why.
Yeah, Mo's saying, can we win an the ACC without getting players like Russell, the elite of the elite? If not, how do we?
Well, I'm jumping all over. Shout out to Mo. I've said this with you on our show. I said it on other. It's coaching to me at this point. You got more than enough talent. You got for the ACC. You got more than enough talent. Like you can coach average with this talent, and you should be 9 to 10 game wins with this talent in the ACC. So this year in particular, all my eyes, as long as there's no crazy injuries, are on the coaching staff. Mo, you don't need a Russell or anybody like. I agree, you don't need them to win the ACC. No, you don't.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We've had the talent to win the ACC for a long time, or at least win the Coastal, because there was a stretch that Clemson was dominating. They were just like
facts.
They would have beaten most teams in the SEC those years that they had like Trevor Lawrence and all those guys. But aside from that, I mean, there were a lot of years like in the mid to late 2000s that that conference should have been ours for the taking. We had the talent to do it.
I have a question for you real quick because you just said something. If I'm not wrong, doesn't LSU open up at Clemson this year?
I want to say yes. Let's check really quick. Let's check the Google machine.
Tell me that's not a barometer to see what's going to happen this year, because I think Clemson is loaded. Clearly, LSU is loaded. How good a game that's going to be. Like, not to throw you off, but that is two teams that should probably start the season in the top 7, top 6, right?
Yep. By the way, Ohio Hurricane, thank you for the dono. Great show, fellas. Go Canes. I was just looking at it. LSU opens in Death Valley. They both play. They both play Death Valley.
Yeah, right. It's at Clemson though.
It's at Clemson's Death Valley, which is pretty freaking loud as well.
Dude, that's going to be a war. Clemson's loaded this year.
Clemson is very loaded. I expect Clemson to win that one, honestly, with their D line, their front 7 in general, and Nussmeier's good, but like, I don't know. He's got flaws to me still. Like
I'm just saying that I don't want to hear anything about this. Like LSU is loaded, right? Yeah. So if they go to Clemson and lose, and to me, full disclosure, I picked Clemson to go to the Natty this year. I think Clemson beats LSU as well, but the narrative is going to be amazing after that, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that August 30th day because we play Sunday, right, against Notre Dame. Saturday is going to be a fun day because you got FSU welcoming in Alabama. Castellanos is already talking a bunch of smack.
Did you see what he said?
If I'm Mike Norvell, I'm like, no. I'm taking your phone away until August 30th.
Dude, who's in charge of public relations there? Fire that person immediately.
Bro, you do not give Alabama bulletin board material 2 months in advance.
Dude, Bama's loaded.
I know. They got a few question marks, quarterback, whatever. They're still a really good roster.
They're loaded. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that young man said that. I literally couldn't believe that young man said that.
It was so bad. Like, so you got that game, I think noon or 3:30, one of the two. And then you got LSU Clemson at 7:30. That's going to be a fun day.
When is Texas Ohio State?
Probably the same day. Hang on.
Because that's another monster right there. Let's find out what Julian Satan's made out of.
Yeah. Texas 25 schedule. Yeah, so Julian's. Yeah, that's at noon in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, my God. I'm not leaving my house that day, dude.
Brother, that's a fun day right there. And before we even take off.
Flanagan's ribs are going to get delivered that day. Oh, man. It's on.
It's going to be way too hot to be outside anyway. So I'm going to be inside, chilling, watching football. That's going to be a fun day.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
My God, that Saturday's insane. I'm sorry. I missed your whole thing.
No. Fine. No, we go off on tangents on this show. I got Cafecito to bring me back to refocus me. So, So we touched on the 3 recruits. Do you need South Florida talent to win? I think, look, just to kind of round out that whole back and forth, I think temporarily you can get away with having to go out of state and pluck blue chippers, kind of piece together a winner. Eventually, if you want to start winning national championships again, you've got to have at least a South Florida component on your team, especially if they're in your backyard. I think you eventually need it.
Yep.
But you brought up a good point that to get your hooks back into those high schools, it is not a 1-year thing. Like, we won 10 games. Great. I think that affected 2026 and 27 a little bit.
Yep.
But you got to keep going. Like, if Miami averages 10 wins the next 5 years, let's say.
Oh, that's big difference. Yeah.
And let's say we win 2 ACC titles.
Oh, man.
Then by the end of that run, we're like, all right, welcome to the Big Ten. We're now part of the Big Ten. If all that happens in the next few years, then that changes everything.
That goes away quick.
Yes.
That goes
that's
away
the other
quick.
thing. The conference that we're in hurts us. So
absolutely, it hurts us.
But anyway,
I mean, again, I'm gonna probably be a broken record until signing day on this, but don't just look at how good our recruiting class is. Look who we're going heads up with and who we're winning against in the recruiting class. It's a big difference, guys, when you're beating Georgia, when you're beating LSU's, when you're beating Ohio State's, when you're beating Alabama's. It's a big difference than beating, I don't want to call out anybody, but Louisville or, schools like that.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so now for the main event. What I've been wanting to bring you on here to discuss for a while now. Ever since you uttered the words, I think Florida got worse since last year. And Gator Twitter lost their minds. I wanted to actually sit with you and kind of go position, matchup by matchup and kind of break this thing down. And I did some homework before this show. Good. Obviously, I watched tape of 4 games over the last couple of days, and I'm talking full game tape.
Yep.
Which, thank you to YouTube, you can double tap and fast forward through between the plays. So each game took probably 45 minutes to watch, but I watched every play and I was like, okay, I got a good feel for this team now. I rewatched our game, the A&M game where they got blown out, that Marcel Reed ran all over them.
Yep.
And then I watched
freshman, by the way.
Yeah, and then I watched 2 of their wins at the end of the year that people got super hyped up. I watched the LSU win and the Ole Miss win. By the way, how the hell Ole Miss lost that game, I have no idea. That does not make sense. But
excuse me.
No problem. But we'll dive in. But basically, the general feel I got from the team, watching those 4 games, was this. I think their O-line is all right. I think they're pretty good at run blocking, decent pass blocking. I don't think they pick up the blitz well at all. What bailed them out a lot, especially in those two victories late in the season, was Lagway. The blitz would come, Lagway would put a juke move on some defender, his jockstrap would go flying that way, and he'd hit a little dump off to Elijah Badger, and Elijah Badger would take off.
Yep.
That was like half their offense in those games. By the way, Elijah Badger, their main weapon on offense, he's gone now. So also Jack Pyburn, Cam Jackson, and Desmond Watson anchoring that D tackle room. Both guys are gone. And those guys, they brought size, they like plugging the middle. Both guys are gone.
Yep.
D-line, they like to hype up the D-line. Again, I think D-line is pretty good. Tyreek Sapp's a solid player. I think he's very disruptive. Caleb Banks, very disruptive.
Yeah, good. His last 3 games were really good.
He kind of did like what Moton did. He was very disruptive, kind of came on late. We're like, all right, fair enough. But, you know, we do have Inez. We do have Matthew McCoy. So, like, that's going to be a solid matchup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of like the feel I got for this team. It's like in the
what about their defensive backs? They lost everybody.
I'll get to the defensive backs now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I was like, what?
I'm almost done. Yeah. I don't want to get too long.
My bad.
I think Bryce Thornton is a very good safety. But yeah, they did lose quite a bit of experience. They lost Marshall, who's a Dolphin now. I don't think people going back and watching the tape, I don't think people realize how much they relied on him. He was big for them.
Yeah.
Take a a sure-handed cover corner off your secondary, that's a big loss. So, you know, they did lose quite a Montreal Johnson, the running back. They lost a lot of pieces that they were leaning on. So
100%.
I think that's the point you were getting at, which I totally agree with you. As far as proven guys, yeah, they absolutely got worse. I don't think you can't rely on 4 or 5 true freshmen to all come in and like fill in those gaps. Maybe one does, but
and a lot of the guys that left went to really good programs. They went to Arkansas. They went to LSU. They went to Bama. They lost pieces that were like legit. And my thing with and again, I've been saying this now because I feel like I'm in the minority. I'm clearly missing something because I've also did a deep dive, but I've done it a couple times because I'm like, what am I missing? And I know we're going to get into it right now, so I'll just let you lead. But I'm excited for this because I'm open to someone giving me something that I possibly missed. I mean, it's very possible. I thought I was thorough with it, but let's see.
Yeah, but like real quick, breaking down the Ole Miss tape. Ole Miss had some really bad drops. They muffed a punt that shifted the momentum of that game. Let's see what else. I thought the trenches on both sides, Ole Miss outplayed Florida.
Yeah.
1,000,000% in that game. LSU, though, D-line was getting after Nussmeier. You know, but you know, up and down. It's not like every game they were like disrupted.
And LSU was a mess last year.
LSU was a bit of a mess. Yeah, their O-line looked like a mess to me. That was part of it too. But yeah, anyway, that was just my thoughts watching the tape of those 4 games. One more thing that I think Carson Beck, like a lot of people aren't thinking about this because people think Carson Beck passed first. The Gators were very vulnerable to mobile quarterbacks last year.
Yes.
When their D-line started to swarm a little bit up the middle,
gone.
12 yards, 17 yards, like that happened a lot to their defense last year.
Yep.
So, but anyway, as far as matchups go, I want to go over a few different matchups and who you think has the advantage. And you know, you let me know, be honest. If you think, I think this is where the Gators can exploit us a little bit, or like, nah, I think Miami has this matchup easily. The first one I'm thinking of is our running game against their front 7. So in other words, our O-line, our running backs against their D-line, Sapp, Banks, those guys, their linebackers. How do you feel about that matchup and who you think has the edge?
I thought they were better last year, and we ran the ball at will on them last year. And our O-line is as good or better this year. And so I don't see it. I don't see it. I feel like I'm being as neutral as possible here. They were, and I'm probably going to say this in a couple position groups. Their D line 10 times better last year than this year, and we ran the ball on them last year at their house. We're as good or better this year on the offensive line. With the backs, I think are amazing, but the thing that you have to talk about here is the personnel packages, because with Elijah Lofton starting and probably the Tulane guy in there too, that's a 2 tight end set, right? 12 personnel. That makes them have a certain personnel on the field, which is not in their favor. It's not in their favor. Like, that's what schematically, it's really bad for them when in that formation.
That is an excellent point, because I touched on this earlier. They lost Pyburn, they lost Cam Jackson, they lost Desmond Watson. Those were 3 super important parts of their D line.
Jakeem Jackson too. They lost Jakeem Jackson too.
And Jakeem Jackson, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
experience.
I think they're really well coached. That's one thing I'm going to give them right off the bat. I know we're going to go through positions. I think they won games last year because they gutted and like mudded some games out. Good coaching, good coaching. I will say that they got better with their coaching as the year went on. I felt like they made games ugly, and they allowed Lagway to kind of run around a little bit because he's such a great athlete. But let's stick to the position groups. I don't think they can stop our running game consistently without committing more guys into the box.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I give the advantage to our running game there. Now, let's flip it around. Our D-line, our front 7 against their O-line and their running backs. Who wins? Because remember, Montreal Johnson's gone. Jaden Ball right now is listed as their number 1 running back. What do you think of that matchup?
I think if they run some RPO, we could have some problems. Because I think Lagway, to me, is another running back, an elite running back at that. And I have a lot of unknown with our defense, right? I don't know what our defense is. I love the personnel. I love our DC hire, but we haven't played a game yet, right? It's a lot of like, we think it's going to be good. At the end of our day, we go by what they did last year. Our defense played good against them last year, to be honest. No, because the blueprint wasn't out yet for us, right? But I don't know, to be honest with you, because I do think their offensive line, they get 4 guys back out of the 5. If you PFF grade them, they're like the world's greatest offensive line in the world. But if you watch tape, they're okay. They're not bad. They're solid, but they're not like overwhelmingly, oh my God. So because they have 4 out of the 5 guys back and they have the same scheme, and if Lagway is healthy, I have to say that I don't know how that plays out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on the O-line. I think they're above average. Just looking at the tape, they didn't blow me away at all. Like, their O-line doesn't scare me.
Their center is really good.
Yeah.
Slaughter. Yeah, he's legit. Like, I'm not even in front. I think that guy he's one of the best centers in the country, I think.
100%. And then Austin Barber, who's a redshirt senior, has 80 gajillion snaps. He will probably be like a second rounder. He's projected as a second rounder right now. Yeah, no, you got 2 NFL guys right there. Even though Slaughter's undersized, he's still very, very good.
Very good.
But as we know, and as we've realized over the years, guys individually can be good, but your O-line has to play as a unit.
Yeah.
How do they look on film?
I thought, again, like back to what I said, I thought they were, in my opinion, it was the best unit of their team overall that I would say that's coming back, because they've played a bunch of games together. Like, you can't deny that there's something to be said of offensive lines that have played together and didn't suck. They didn't suck at the end of the day, right?
Right.
I mean, you're right. They do struggle, and I think, I mean, if you know anything about Heatherman, he will send 5 a lot from all different spots. They do struggle with picking up the blitz a lot. The key is, can you get that guy down? Right?
He's very tough to bring down. Yes.
Yeah, he's an elite athlete, but I mean, he's the potential on DJ Lagway is crazy. I know we're gonna get to him in a little bit, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right, so we got first matchup in favor of the Canes, our running game against their front seven. The reverse, question mark. We'll call that a push.
Know. Right.
Yeah, we'll call it a push for now. The next matchup is our wide receivers, and that includes everybody, wide receivers, tight ends, Lofton, everybody, against their secondary, against their pass defense. What do you think about that?
I think it's the same thing that I was going to say, but in reverse. They have a lot of unknowns on that defensive backfield. A lot of guys that have played some snaps have played bad snaps. We have a bunch of guys that have proven tape, right? And then we have that one that I always joke around a lot about, like if people laugh at it, but I'm being serious. I just joke around it. There's nobody that can cover Elijah Lofton. There's just nobody, because you're not going to put a corner on him. You understand? So safety's dead, linebacker's dead. Mm-hmm. But because of that, you got, my God, dude, like I just don't see how they're going to stop us, because they have to put 8 or 9 in the box. See, that's why I don't think they can cover, because they can't play cover against us. They're going to have to play man and try to stop the run. I really believe that. And because they have to stop the run, the coverages are easy to know what they're in. Shannon Dawson's just going to sit there and joystick them to death. He did it last year too, to be honest with you. We had guys, I mean, there was a lot of highlights, but we had guys open a lot of other places too, if you go back and watch the tape. And you said you watched the Ole Miss game. They had guys running open all over the field. Like,
yeah, that was one of Jackson Dart's worst games.
Yeah, I agree. But they had guys open everywhere, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So and they lost a lot of those guys too. Look, I don't think that'll fare well for them, because I do think we'll protect Beck. So because we protect Beck, I think Beck's gonna know where to go with the ball, because they're gonna have to put a lot of guys in the box. It doesn't fare well from them schematically, but also personnel based, I think, as well.
Yeah, I got to go back and do a little more homework on how Beck does against the blitz specifically, because I thought the same thing. Like, how is he going to respond to the blitz?
Well, he's a Gator killer.
I know that. Yeah, he's 2-0 against them as a starter. And I believe he was recruited by Florida to play baseball.
I did not know that,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I don't know.
I want to say he was recruited by the Gators initially to play baseball. This is
I believe you. I don't know.
Like a full year before, I think he was recruited for football. But that's why Carson's a hell of an athlete, multi-sport guy. I think if we can pick up the blitz just enough that, like, there's somebody wide open on a quick slant. Screen,
But he got wheels too. Beck can run.
That too. Yeah. If there's over pursuit, which I think will happen a few times in the game, and he could take advantage and run and maybe run somebody over in the open field, which he does do. He's a wiry, strong dude.
Dude, Beck is, I said this on a show and people laughed at me because Ward is like a legend.
Yeah.
Beck is more athletic than Ward. He's going to test better than Ward. I'll bet anybody on this. Carson Beck will test better than Carson Ward did, than Cam Ward did.
Cam Ward. Yeah.
And I'm telling y'all, it's and I don't think it'll be even close. I'm not saying he's a better quarterback than Cam Ward, but athletically, if you really went back and watched Carson Beck, he can run. He can run no problem.
Yeah. No, he's a very good athlete. But yeah, the next matchup.
Look what the general said. Look what the general said.
The difference of the short son.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, he's funny. Yeah.
That's funny. Sorry.
So the next matchup, let's flip it around now. Mm-hmm. Our secondary against their skill guys.
Well, let me ask you, because I like to mess with you a little bit.
Okay.
What are you worried about? The guy they brought in from UCLA, who's super inconsistent. Other than UG Wilson, who's coming off a major injury, by the way. Tell me, because everybody has a true freshman that can hurt us. True freshman.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I'm just asking. I'm just asking because if you want to say, well, Lucas might be with us first year, but he's proven at the college level. OJ proven at the college level, right? Scott proven at the college level. Thomas from Tennessee proven at the college level, right? Poiser is all planet. So I'm just saying, not trying to be like funny, but other than Eugene Wilson, who I have a lot of respect for, but I'm curious to see how healthy he really is.
Right.
What is going on there? Am I missing something?
I'm looking at the depth chart right now, and look, it's
true freshman.
Michael Sturdivant, Khalil Jackson, Aiden Mizell, Tank Hawkins. You know, maybe his speed can hurt you a little bit on jet sweeps and stuff, but like
Vernell Brown is one that I would worry about getting on the field early for them.
Yeah, but again, true freshman. Will he be getting him and Dallas Wilson? Yeah. As far as names that make me like a touch nervous, it's him and Dallas Wilson, honestly. But neither one has taken a snap yet.
Right. Vernell, to me, could be a little bit of a problem. I think Dallas, we see a lot. We see a Dallas Wilson every day in practice. But Vernell is hard to replicate. That little jitterbug is that dude. That dude's a problem. But he's a true freshman, like you said. Like, let's see. And are we going to do quarterback? Because I'm dying to get the quarterback.
Well, I'm saving that for last, buddy.
Okay, good.
Let's the only thing I like almost 100% give the edge to Florida is the special teams. Just all around.
Yeah.
Just all
around. Absolutely.
They got Trey Smack, one of the best kickers in the country. And like you said, they are well coached. I think
they're well coached.
Their special teams, especially, very well coached. Their kickoff coverage is good. Punt, they can pin you down inside the 5.
Yep.
Pretty good return game. Like they do their job. So I give the edge special teams to the Gators. But yeah, I think that's the last matchup left is the quarterbacks. So we'll start with Lagway against our defense first. Just Lagway against our whole defense in general.
Right. So I want to start off with saying that I think the kid has got all world talent, like all world. He has a chance to be special. But the fact of the matter is 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. His best game was against Samford, where he had over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. You take that away from the stats. I know I said Samford, by the way, not Stanford. Samford, okay? You take that away. What does his stats look like then? And his stats are still bad. 12 and 9 is terrible. 59%, completion percentage. But you take that 4 touchdowns and the 400 yards plus and three touchdowns. What did he really do? He's erratic right now. He's very erratic throwing the ball. What he is he's a supreme athlete with a big arm. He's going to make some wild plays. The defense that we have installed traditionally from our DC does not give up big plays. And it's where he does the most work is the way he disguises his covers on the back, his coverages on the back end. He's very simple up front and it's complex in the back. But the complexity is just, you don't know what coverage he's in. That's all. Not like guys are, doing 360s and cartwheels, trying to get in positions and stuff like that because you went in motion. That's not what's going on there. So I still think Lagway is very, very young. He's a true sophomore. He didn't play a full season last year. He got hurt. He didn't have great numbers. He does make the wow plays. He's got wow in him. I think he will make wow plays against us, but I think he's going to make a lot of mistakes too. He's got terrible interceptions. Not bad. Terrible interceptions. Just atrocious interceptions. Okay? And he doesn't throw with anticipation. I've never seen him throw. He throws a good, hard ball. He's got a big arm, but he doesn't throw with anticipation. He didn't show he could read coverage. They fooled him, a lot. Yeah, he was a true freshman. He was allowed to make those mistakes.
Yeah. But
you're putting a lot of pressure on a young man against a defense that's been revamped with proven players, not true freshmen, right? Guys that have a lot of snaps with a lot of guys that can roll in. Our defense will always be fresh. We can roll a lot of guys in on the back end and a lot of guys up front. So I'm very, very curious because I don't want to root against him because I'm not like that. I just don't see him being consistent. I see him doing a few amazing plays because he's amazing, but I also see him doing disaster things also.
Mm-hmm. Trevor saying, any news on Mac? Thanks for all you do. Appreciate it, brother. Mac, I'm drawing a blank.
Mac is a corner / nickel that we got last year. He hurt his knee during the season and practice.
Ryan Mac.
Yes. He's working. He's trying to get back. I do not have an update since spring from Mac, but I will try to find out for you. It won't be this week. It'll be next week. And I'll try to tell John. John will let you guys know. Or you can watch this on Sunday and bring it up, and I'll let you know. But if he gets healthy, he's another dude that's going to contribute. And look, Fitzgerald's there too. Amari Wallace is like they've done a great job. There's waves and waves and waves of guys that we can throw.
Yeah, well, our secondary is nasty. I agree, man. As far as proven talent, we are pretty loaded.
Personnel wise, we are definitely we got the personnel.
But before I go into my spiel on Lagway, I was just pulling up his stats. So
I can tell them to you by heart if you want.
You should probably study the hell out of this. Yeah, no, hang on. Where are the yards? Here we go. All right. So, against Sanford, he threw for 456. Very impressive, especially his first start as a true freshman.
3 touchdowns.
3 TDs.
Yep.
He played sparingly against – they were kind of doing the 2 QB thing at this point. Against Texas A&M, they got blown out 33-20. He was 6 for 13 for 54 yards. Mertz played more of that game. Mississippi State, they won 45-28, but Mississippi State was ass last year, if I remember correctly. They were bad. He was 7 for 7, 76 yards. So a lot of short stuff. No touchdowns. UCF, 4 for 4, 50 yards. So that was a Graham Mertz game.
Yeah, mop-up duty.
Yeah, mop-up duty. Now Tennessee, now he's getting into some big boy football. 9 for 17 for 98 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah.
That was the overtime loss to Tennessee.
That's coaching. That's what I'm trying to say. They're in that game because of coaching.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
Look at did you hear the stats you said? That's not winning stats. That's losing stats normally.
Again, in the tape that I watched, their coaches would press a lot of the right buttons, especially on 3rd and 4th down. Their execution would be perfect because guys were always in the right spot.
Yeah, dude, they can coach. I give them all the credit.
Kentucky, all right, little blowout victory, 48-20. He was 7 for 14, 259 yards. He hit a big play for 58. He was sacked a couple times, 1 pick. So he got some big chunk plays on that one.
50% completion ratio percentage.
7 for 14. Again, they weren't asking him to do a lot. 14 passes. The loss against Georgia, I believe he got hurt in this game, if I'm not mistaken. He was 2 for 6 for 47 yards. 1 touchdown. And then the LSU win, played the entire game. I remember that. 13 for 26, 226.
That's good. That's a solid showing.
Solid showing. But watch the tape. 2 interceptions in the first half were dropped by LSU.
Yeah.
One that it would have been an insane catch, but there was one, I think, on the first possession right in the safety's hands, and he dropped it.
Yeah. Look, the kid, I want to make sure. I love the kid. I think he's so much fun to watch, but
we've made that clear, yeah.
He's got a long way to go, man.
He's still raw, is our point.
Yeah, he needs time.
Yeah. $180 against Ole Miss. Again, how the hell Ole Miss coughed that one up?
But did you hear what you just said? They beat Ole Miss, and he threw for 180 yards, John.
Yep. That's all 3 phases of the game contributed. They did their job.
That's what I'm trying to say. So whenever you bring up Florida going into the season, what does everyone say? DJ Lagway. And I'm like, okay, possibly, potentially, but he hasn't done anything yet. Nothing.
Yeah.
And he missed all of spring.
That's okay. I was gonna start with that. Look, everybody talks about how much Carson missing spring might affect them. Listen, Carson is in his 5th year of college football.
Yeah, that's a whole different animal right there.
That's a different animal. He is literally a pro because he would have gone, or like had he not gotten hurt, he would have gone in the first 2-3 rounds of the draft this year. We literally have an NFL quarterback under center this year.
He has 3 losses, right? I think in his whole career.
Yeah.
So another P word is he's proven. Big difference.
Yeah.
Lagway needed all the snaps.
Right. Yeah. Carson does not need spring like a young 19-year-old DJ Lagway needed that spring with new receivers. Because, again, his safety blanket was Elijah Badger. Like, he looked for him on every freaking play. Anytime something broke down, he looked for Badger. Badger's gone. So, yeah. And he's coming into hostile territory. It's going to be a very loud game. It's going to be a sellout because it's Miami against Florida. There's going to be a nice little showing of Florida fans for sure. It's not going to be – Miami's going to very much outnumber the Notre Dame fans. This game, it's going to be a little closer, like 70-30, 65-35, but it's still going to be very loud, hostile environment. And guess what? Your team got whooped at home, and now you got to go on the road in a rivalry game. That's
and
not –
they're gonna, listen, I think they're going to play hard. I think they're going to try to kill us. We embarrassed them last year. I listen. I have a lot of respect for Florida. I love the way that that coaching staff has coached them up. But you and I talk about this a lot when this started coming up. There is one location that's almost never wrong. That's Vegas. Mm-hmm. Vegas has them at 6.5 wins, guys. 6.5 wins, or is the over or under? So tell me how in the world ESPN, On3, 247, CBS, I don't know, whatever. I'm making some of all of them have them in like the top 25, top 15, top 10. I'm confused. And that's why I said multiple times I'm probably wrong because I'm the only one that doesn't see it. And I'm okay with saying I'm wrong. Like, okay, I'm wrong. My bad. I didn't see what you guys saw. My fault. But when you break it down calmly, like we're doing right now, and yes, we are Miami fans, but I think we're trying to be as neutral as possible. Mm-hmm. What in the world are y'all talking about? I'm just saying.
I don't see the love affair, but it was the same crap last year heading into the opening game. It was the same thing. They didn't think of Graham Mertz as like the end all be all. They have a quarterback that has a much higher ceiling now, but it was the same thing last year. And I think part of it is the whole SEC. Oh, we're in the SEC. Yeah, but you're not Georgia. Like relax. I was just looking at Miami's over under. According to FanDuel, it's 8.5. DraftKings is 9.5. So depending on where you look, we're either at 8.5 or 9.5. And Florida is either at 6.5 or 7.5. Again, depending where you look.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said it with John a bunch of times. I want Florida and Florida State to be really, really good. Mm-hmm. Like really good. Those games are way better when we're real good and they're real good. It's that's amazing. So if Florida is that good and Miami is that good, great. We're gonna have an awesome game. And if they win, I'll say, hey, damn, bro, you guys were right. I was wrong. Clearly they outcoached us and they're way better than us. They have, I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I know they have at least one really hard game before our game. And we have Notre Dame. So both teams will have tape of them being tested at the utmost before they play each other. I'm almost positive they have a really hard game before us.
I think you're right. Let me see. The week right before they go on the road to face LSU, and then they go on the road to face us.
Yeah. See, so we'll have a lot of tape on them from what happened with LSU. They're gonna have a lot of tape on us from what happened with Notre Dame. So you'll know a lot going into that game, right? Oh crap, we were wrong. Florida looks legit. Like wow, or damn. They don't Miami, whatever. Like we'll know enough by that fourth game.
Yeah. But anyway, Lagway, like I said the other day on your show, I think he's still a year away. He's got a lot
Yep,
of rough edges he needs to smooth out, in my
I
opinion.
agree.
As for Carson Beck, I'll start with this one. This will be the final matchup. So Carson Beck against Florida, against Florida's defense. Carson Beck has already beaten them twice. Didn't have his best game against them last year. They still won. Georgia was just a better team. But look, I don't have to go through the whole list of things why Carson Beck should have a fantastic season this year. But he's been in a million of these games. This is going to be no different. The moment's not going to be too big for him. And he's just used to this, and he's gonna be facing Notre Dame week 1, like I said, so he will be tested. I think by a better defense week 1.
Facts.
So yeah, I just think experience and just, on experience alone, I give the nod to him. But like, if you don't believe me, don't listen to the prognosticators. Definitely don't listen to Danny Cannell, because he's a bad take. He's a bad take machine. I think he's just saying that to get viral clicks because he's got nothing better to do. But like, friggin' go pick a few games from Carson Beck's season, even though it was a down year for him. Look at the amount of NFL throws he makes in those games that don't get talked about enough or don't get shown enough. Like, dude's legit. He had nothing to throw to last year.
Correct.
He's got JoJo Trader, Elijah Lofton, CJ Daniels to throw to with the best, maybe the best running game in the ACC. We'll see.
Right. Malachi Tony's there too.
Malachi Tony's there. Again, I'm trying to shy away from.
I know, but I'm telling y'all, they go Malachi Tony.
He's no. He's for real. But we'll see.
The big thing with Carson too, John, is his bad year. If we have his bad year from last year, this year we still win 10 games.
Yeah, I agree.
Real talk. Remember, they're in the SEC championship game last year, and he had a down year.
Yeah.
Just saying.
To me, well, one of the things, bringing him in was such like a safe bet, as well as like, if he has a great year, it's huge upside. Yeah, I think the ceiling for us, if he's like at his best, is like 11
Oh my gosh.
If he's at his best, oh my God.
Yes.
But, and from what I hear, he's been throwing it very nice.
Yep.
Very nice in practice.
This is an easier system too, though, for him.
Yes, I agree.
A lot easier system.
I agree. But what's great about him is I think he's also a very, very high floor guy.
Yep.
Because I think absolute worst case scenario, he's going to win you 8 games, 9 games. Like, that's like, if it's a disaster, it's 8 games. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion. I feel like even a, like you just said, even a down year for him, he's winning 9 games here. Easy.
And the reason that you can say that is because we are, like, again, I feel like we're doing the orange and green glasses, and I can back all this up. I'm just saying, we're built to be a bully team. So we don't need him to be incredible. We just need him to make a few throws here and there, and that's it. Like, honestly, we don't need him to, we don't need Cam Ward in this year. Like, we just need him to go, hey, 3rd and 6, pick it up, dump it off, put us in a good play if we're in the wrong play, pre-snap, just if they blitz, don't make a stupid play. Like, that's really all you need with him. Like, the O-line is like that. The running game is like that. The system is built to be quarterback friendly. He's going to be able to process information like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm. And he's a smart dude, so that's not going to be a problem for him.
Yep.
Gio Kane says, Flo, how do y'all think Florida State will be this year? I'm hearing good things from their fan base and their quarterback. Obviously, he's joking.
I hope they're real good. I know people are hate on them. I want them to be real good, and when we play them, I actually, if we're healthy, I think they're in a lot of trouble. I feel like this could be they were bad last year, and I actually think they had more talent last year. Like that defense wasn't that bad last year. They lost. You want to talk about losing players and not replacing them? I mean, they got one or two guys that I kind of like that they picked up in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, oh my God. But we'll see. I mean, I like what they did on the coaching side, right? They went and got two really good coordinators. So, they got the guy from Nebraska on defense. They got the UCF. His name is escaping me right now, the head coach, who's now the OC over there.
Malzahn?
Malzahn, yes. Malzahn is the OC there. And thank you. I think Castellanos is going to run around and make a lot of highlight plays, and he's going to be a pain in the butt, but there's a reason why one of the greatest offensive minds, you don't have to like him, but that guy that's over at Boston College, that was at Houston, that was at Penn State, that was at the Patriots, that guy knows offense, benched his ass at Boston College. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was not a nice exit for him over there. So I think we'll end on this. Kane Thing 24 saying, who's going to be our next commit? Any guesses?
I think tomorrow's going to be an awesome day. I think tomorrow is going to be a great day. I think tomorrow will be better than today. And today we got a good commit. Let's see how tomorrow goes. Let's see what the kids do. You never know with these kids, but I will say that I think it's going to be a better day tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think someone really important is announcing tomorrow. Hang on, let me double check that.
There's a couple announcements tomorrow. Yeah.
One big one that I've been talking about a lot on my channel that has stupid speed. That would be a great one. And can you imagine
that would be a great one?
Can you imagine taking 3 big time targets away from Georgia? We're 2 for 2 with Cantwell and Spafford.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I just think Georgia, to me, it would be box office stuff. I think we will have a really, really good day tomorrow. We could have a great day tomorrow. We'll see. But I know we're going to have a good day. I know we're going to have a good day tomorrow for sure.
Plank time saying spill it, Flo.
I know,
but ruin it, man. Come on.
Plank, you know me. Like, I'm not going to do the kids like that. You guys.
We don't do that here.
I don't do that. I do think I'm telling you for sure we're going to have a good day, but we could possibly have a great day tomorrow.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're an hour in, 1:45 in the chat. Thank you all. As always, thank you, Flo, for taking an hour out of you. I know you're kind of busy today, but I'm sure this is probably a nice mental break for you from all.
It was fun. I had a blast. I got traffic, and I knew I was getting nervous. I was like, crap, I'm gonna be actually late. I hate being late. And I was like, but I actually made it like right on time. So it was good.
You're good, man. But thank you to the fans, the people in the chat, Discord, everybody. I appreciate the support every single Tuesday night. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Thank you for the donos and all that. And as always, it's all about that you. Go Kings. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.